Imagine if you woke up one day and everybody you knew, every single person on the planet, had disappeared. What would you do?
There's nobody. It's the whole world.
Everybody's gone.
An episode of the Sarah Jane Adventures that stuck with me as a child was one called The Empty Planet, in which Rani Chandra and Clyde Langer are living their normal lives, when all of a sudden, everything they knew was flipped upside down. They had to settle with the fact that they were the only people left on the planet. Not even Sarah Jane is there to save the day. They check their TVs and nothing but eerie static. No service on their phones either. They are completely and utterly alone. Wanting to see for themselves, they decide to go out into the world to see if everyone has truly gone. They are then met with a desolate earth, buildings left empty and silent, the barren streets abandoned, and the feeling of loneliness truly sets in. It's something which would scare anyone right to their core, knowing that nobody is left, but not knowing why. And so you search, you look for clues, but the longer it settles into your mind that this is reality, you begin to panic.
And we're not gonna panic.
I wasn't panicking.
You were.
This is a thought that a lot of us have had during our childhoods. The idea of what would happen if suddenly you woke up and everybody you knew was gone. There's been many stories to cover this idea and each hold its merits, but The Empty Planet was the one which really stuck with me. And I thought that if it were adapted into a film and made darker and the story was written with a better plot and an even creepier, eerier feel, then I feel it would be amazing. A film like no other. One that enhances that feeling of being alone and then being hunted by the beings which you believe are the core reason for the planet becoming desolate. After Rani and Clyde find somewhere safe to rest, eat and rehydrate themselves, like any person in this situation, they begin to brainstorm on all of the scenarios which could have led to this happening, trying everything they can to figure it out and get to the bottom of this earth-shattering mystery, so they can somehow find a way to change the world back to the way it was.
We've got to do with Sarah Jane. We've got to stop, think and work it out.
What do you think I've been sat here doing?
There would come a point where you start to look deeper into what is truly going on. Why has every person disappeared, but not you? What is so special about you? Was it that you wished on a shooting star last night and your wish finally came true? Was it that this isn't the real reality, but one you've been trapped in? What really starts to break you is the many questions you have and the lack of answers. The smartest option would be to start looking at this the way Sarah Jane would, or the way logical people like Sherlock would. You'd find somewhere to write and start noting down every clue that could bring you closer to the answers. Maybe it's just as it looks and you are alone in this world forever. Some people would revel in the fact, but after some time, you begin to lose yourself and your humanity. Life itself will become meaningless. So instead, you begin to piece it together from what you already know.
Everyone's gone except us.
And animals, there are still animals.
So what's so different about us?
And why is Sarah Jane gone? I mean, if anyone around here is different, I reckon it's her.
Maybe they just want us.
Well, they don't want us.
And then, doubt will creep in like it always does. Yes, you thought you were alone on this planet, but what if that's just what you've come to make yourself believe? And if there are others, what if bumping into them is more dangerous than safe? It's the truth that humans are unexpected creatures. In certain situations, their true nature can reveal itself, and they become selfish beings, only looking out for themselves, not caring about anyone else, and would do anything to make sure they survive, and you don't, because anyone who isn't them poses a threat to them. It then becomes the opposite of what you had wanted at the start of this nightmare. You initially searched and searched for any signs of life, not wanting to be alone, needing to find others. But when you start to think about what finding others could result in, you see that maybe it could be worse than being alone in the first place. And now, the scariest thought in your back of your mind would be, what if there is evidence of someone else here? What if, like Clyde and Rani, you're walking around in this desolate world and suddenly someone or something knocks something over? Shivers would run down your spine and goosebumps would cover your body from head to toe. The question is now, do you investigate this sound or do you run the other way? Oh, you chose that option. Choosing to investigate, you go to look, but nobody's there. Again, you get this eerie feeling, the fear of the unknown. Is it a monster like the Death Angels from A Quiet Place? Or is it maybe just a cat? Before you can decide if you're more scared than curious, you hear the creaking of a door as it swings open and then closes. Now running towards it, you've decided that it's best to find out what it is that's hiding itself from you. Before it's too late, you see it go through the back door of the shop and rush after it, not wanting it to get away. In this situation, maybe it will be better off if you do find out what it is, rather than not knowing, as your mind would come up with things way worse than the real answer. As you continue to follow it, maybe you don't realize yet, but this empty world has already changed you. You're chasing a scared soul, and only for the reason of rectifying your own loneliness. Craving the thought that you can't let the lack of the life you used to live completely die. You strive to hang on to it, needing answers and doing anything you can to get them. Catching up to this person or creature, you don't let it get away, breaking down its door to then find out it's just a scared boy who has no idea what's going on. Because of your deep need for answers, you threw logic to the wind and fueled yourself on getting to the bottom of this mystery over everything else. And in doing so, you just scared the hell out of an innocent child. In Rani's case, she knows the best way to deal with the situation.
I'll go make us a cup of tea, yeah?
Obviously, because that's what every traumatized child wants. A cup of tea made by a stranger he met 2 seconds ago. Interrogating him, you tried to find out why he, like you, has been cursed to live on this planet alone. But all roads lead to the answer you were dreading. He's just as normal as you. So all of this, and you've got no closer to what the hell is going on. And it finally makes you understand that maybe there are no answers out there. Maybe this is just it. While all hope seems to be lost, something changes. The one thing that has been there since the beginning of this nightmare, the never-ending silence, has broken. Outside, you hear an eerie sound like no other, some sort of creepy alarm.
What's that?
Trumpets?
The whole room shakes, and it looks like whatever made this planet empty in the first place has come back for the scraps that were left behind, meaning you. Making your way outside to get a better look, do you get further away from the sound, or do you investigate the sound? I think we already know the answer. Along the way, your mind begins to wander, and you come up with all sorts of ideas for what that sound could have been, and what it is that made it. What if there's a possibility it could lead to a way out of this hell? Or the worst option, it could be the Grim Reaper coming to tell you you're already in hell. And that's why there were no answers to your questions, because this whole thing was your own personal form of torture. Back on the street where the weird noises came from, nothing is there. And then you spot something. All the TVs in the shop window, which were blank before, are now showing an unknown symbol and what seems to look like an alien language. This settles your ever-growing fear of what is happening, and it seems to make it even worse, knowing that you aren't alone anymore. No, because now something is coming after you. Hearing scary noises surround you, you take your chances and run for your life, hoping that maybe you can hide long enough to get away from the thing chasing you. Now cornered, there's no way out. Your fate has been sealed. With the sounds of heavy stomping getting closer and closer, you can finally see what it is that wants you dead. A tall, red, metal robotic being with one glowing red eye in the middle of its head. Finally, you've got your answers you've been looking for. But was it worth it? Now facing near death, what is it you think you could have done better in your life? Did you live a good life? One with meaning? One that was full of life and people and happy experiences? Or the opposite? Did you live an empty life? Did you live in your own world, trying to solve all of your problems by yourself, and yet never making progress? That is what this place could be a metaphor for. It's a chance to look back on the life you've lived, to truly look between the cracks and realize that you haven't been living the life you wanted. You've been living an empty life, and therefore your whole planet is empty. Though that's only from your perspective. Different people's views are seeing the world more full of life, but the way you look at it is empty. Like there's no other person, there's no other people to help you along your path, along your life, along your journey. But there are. It's just that's the way you're seeing it, as an empty planet. That's what I feel this is really about, in my opinion at least. The time you've been dreading has finally come. The alien robot raises its gun hand, charging it up as you stand there helpless. And just like that, it's all over. Hold on a minute, what happened? Where's the resolution? Where's the ending? Well, in truth, there is no ending, no defeat, no game over screen. However your life is, you can always change the outcome. You don't have to let your life become an empty void. Whatever direction your life is headed, no matter how bad it gets, you can always make a difference, either big or small. It still changes your ending. Ladies and gentlemen, the empty planet. I've been Kolenzo. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next planet. The end, hooray. Hopefully that worked.